effectively turns the third of the chord into a melodic tension note. The third wants to, it craves pulling down to the 9. Today I want to delve into some more scalar type ideas that we have extensively explored inside the tonality vault, specifically in regard to what we've been talking about this week. So far this week, we've been discussing the Batman note, the tension flat 6, right? Tension flat 6, which wants to pull back down to the natural 5 of the triad. And then we also applied it over the minor major 7 chord. So using a major triad to play on top of a minor major chord so that we can bring out specific notes so that we're not stuck in the 1, 3, 5. Paul, what's up, man? Miles, good to see you guys. Thanks for hanging this morning. So, B flat minor major 7, I'm going to think F major triad tension flat 6. Right, so this F note is the most stable. I'm playing over a B flat minor major 9. B flat minor major 7 really, but I'm accentuating the 9, the major 7, and the 5th. The root note is not stable right now. If I play the root note, I haven't yet, but if I play it melodically, it's not going to sound stable. You hear it? Okay, because I'm not thinking B flat melodic minor, I'm thinking F major with that tension flat 6. Today what we're going to do is we're going to add a second tension note to it, and we're going to turn this into a pentatonic scale. We can make triads into more and more dense scalar sounding by adding more diatonic type melodic tension notes. I don't think it's definitely not necessary, and I don't think it's a good idea to do too quickly because it prevents us from being able to hear what each individual note sounds like the emotion of it. And it also can become a crutch for us to not just pay attention and be creative, to learn to cook with 1 spice rather than needing 7 spices. If we use the same 7 spices in every meal we cook, nobody's going to want to eat at our restaurant. But if you can learn to use 1 or 2 spices in this dish, and 1 or 2 in this one, and maybe 3 in this one, and a handful in this one, then all of a sudden you start to get a whole menu of options that people can pick from. Maybe you have some that are spicy, some that are sweet, right? Some that are savory, some that are sour. Like, you want to be able to create different flavors when you're playing over a tune, a chord, whatever situation you're in. So getting to know these individual notes one at a time with the triad plus 1 option is super helpful for that. Today I want to take it one step farther. Right, we're going to delve into one of the ideas that's in the tonality vault for our study group members, which is what happens when we add a second tension note. When we put 2 tension notes together, we have a triad, not a quadratonic with 1 tension note. Now we have a pentatonic, but it's not just a basic old, scaled shape that I'm going to chart out for you. It is charted in the PDF. But you'll see when you look at the chart, you'll see the F major triad. We're going to stick with F major triad today. Those dots are all black, and then there's going to be 2 other pitches that have these white circles around it because it's not just a scale. It's 3 stable notes and 2 tension notes that are going to cause problems. Instead of 1, now we have 2. We have tension flat 6 and tension 2. Let's listen to each one individually, and then we're going to put it together and we're going to have a pentatonic scale. If we have time at the end, I will either apply this to Nika's Dream, right, the vamp that we've been working on the last couple days, which has 2 minor major chords moving back and forth. We will either apply it to that, or we'll add a 3rd tension note and we'll get our melodic triad 6-note bebop scale. I'm not 100% sure which I feel like doing yet. We'll see kind of what happens in the moment. Here's B flat minor major 7, just a basic shell voicing. Let's start with just the F major triad. Let's hear what that triad sounds like over this. back down. Tension flat 6 wants to resolve down to the 5th of the triad. Flat 6 of F is a D flat. F, G, A, right? B flat, C, D flat. But I'm not playing over an F chord, I'm playing over a B flat minor chord, minor major. D flat is the minor third, B flat minor. Hopefully you know your theory well enough to have spotted that without me pointing it out, which means that by basing my lines, my ideas on the F major triad rather than on a scale or a 1, 3, 5, 7 arpeggio, I've effectively turned the third of the chord into a melodic tension note. The third wants to, it craves pulling down to the 9. I call this tonicizing the melodic triad. The 9, the chord tone of the 9, is now tonicized in my melodic ideas, and the chord tone of the minor third is now a melodic tension note. It's unstable. It wants to move. Listen again. Right? The F note is the most stable. The root note of the triad is the most stable, and the third of the chord is happier when we resolve it down. Even in the lowest register, F is the most stable. The second tension note we're going to throw in is tension 2. Tension 2 we discussed a few weeks ago in here, and if you're in the study group, you've got a ton of material exploring tension 2, the sharp 2 extension, all those ideas. Check this out. Here's F major with a G note added. Remember that tension 2 is related to the F triad, not the B flat minor chord. Everything's related, but when I say 2, I mean 2 of the triad, not of the chord. Right, there's tension 2. Extra credit points to anyone who recognizes this melody. If I can play right. This is the wrong chord to put underneath it. I'm changing the chord. I'm matching it to this minor major, this melodic minor sound. It's not from a standard. Hit me up if you know what it is. But you can start to hear how this F major triad is in control of these phrases. They're very simple phrases right now. I think that's a good thing. It's giving my ear a chance to hear tension 2 and to hear this major triad as being the most stable set of notes that I can resolve into over a minor major 7 chord. So I'm playing over B flat minor major 7, but all my ideas are circling around the F major triad, specifically the F note. And now I have 2 different tension notes. So if I use them both together to create lines, then I have 3 triad notes, 3 stable points, and 2 emotions, 2 tension notes, which means now I have a pentatonic scale that works to imply the sound of melodic minor without just getting stuck noodling inside of scales. Yeah, Gary's got it. Borjak. Love that piece. It's so pretty. Except he should have used it over minor major 7 chord. Here's what the pentatonic scale sounds like. Right, I'm playing 5-note scale now. I'm not using any chromaticism or leading tones here. This is a 5-note pentatonic scale, but hopefully you can hear that I'm still trying to take advantage. I'm trying not to get lost in the idea of just playing a scale. I'm trying to think of this as two different emotions or characters in a story, right? Like I'm trying to take advantage of the emotional quality of that tension 2. I ended my line with that big slide up into the tension 2, knowing that it's going to sound cool and want to resolve back to the F note, to the root of the triad, the melodic do. Right, study group members, if you've been through the Forms for Life course, you should recognize that trick that I just used, that sound. That's actually, as a chord tone, that's the flat 7. Right, that's an A flat note pulling down a G over a B flat minor major 7. You're not gonna find that in the melodic minor scale or in any scale that anyone tells you to use over this chord, because it's a wrong chord tone, but it still sounds super cool to me. Right, tension 2. Right, that's the minor third of the chord, wants to pull back down to the 9. Okay, and notice the F note feels the most stable, even though I'm playing over a B flat minor major 7, and technically speaking, I'm not playing the B flat melodic minor scale, but I am playing around with 5 of the 7 notes of the melodic minor scale. We could add more of the notes there, but right now the whole point is that we're trying to think of the scale more in terms of tension and resolution, like which notes are the most stable and which want to move, and what is the emotional quality that we're able to add to the line with the tension notes. Like what do they produce for us as far as phrases go, and bringing some sense of lyricism and humanity to the line. Okay? Try a lick with bebop. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by a lick with bebop. We can add chromaticism to this, we can add leading tones to this, we can do enclosures with this, but at the moment I'm not really looking for licks so much. No, I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce your name or not. What I'm really trying to do more than anything else is ear training. Like I'm trying to learn to hear the emotional quality of a note. If I know what a note feels like, whether it's a stable note or a tension note, then if I want to put an enclosure around it or lead into it with some kind of chromatic line or arpeggio, I can do that, but I know what I'm getting out of it more so than just having, memorizing a shape on the fretboard that's like a lick. I did chart out this scale position in the PDF to help you guys out, but I strongly recommend that you don't look at it unless you need it. Like, you can look at it to double check your work, but try it more from the standpoint of find your F major triad notes. And then look for your tension flat 6, which we've been talking about all week. Right, and hear how it wants to move, then do the same thing with tension 2, and then we can put it over a handful of different chords, but today we're just going to keep it simple and think about it from the B flat minor major 7. Let's apply this to the Nika's Dream Vamp that we've been talking about. Rather than talking about adding a third note, I'm a big advocate of adding one baby step at a time. And while the 6-note melodic triad bebop scale is fun and has some benefits to it, let's stick with pentatonic. You don't even need the second tension note. You can make legit phrases and bebop ideas and play over tunes with really beautiful melody just with our quadratonic, just with 4 notes. And I strongly recommend you start there, even though it's going to feel like you're limiting yourself. You have access to all 12 notes. Once you add in leading tones and chromaticism inside these 4 notes, you have everything available to you, but it helps create a sense of phrasing that's difficult to find anywhere else, and it's just good for the ear. So let's just practice moving this back and forth with the 5-note version rather than jumping into the 6-note. Let me reset this loop to have the 2 different chords, B flat minor major and A flat minor major. Same shape, same scale, just down a whole step. So this is B flat minor major. I'm thinking F major triad with the 2 in the flat 6 added. And then for the A flat minor major, I'm thinking E flat major triad with the 2 in the 6 added. 2 in the flat 6, excuse me. Right, there's F major with tension 2 and tension flat 6. Here's E flat major with the tension 2 and tension flat 6. Those sharp 2 extensions, study group members, if you've been through Forms for Life, you know what I'm talking about. Right, to give us a little bit of that nice bluesy, soulful vibe without taking us out of the key we're in, the scale. Flair to this, I can connect any of these notes chromatically. Okay, this kind of creates a little bit more of a bebop or even just a modern jazz vocabulary. A lot of the ability to create the bebop elements, chromaticism gets into it, also enclosures can help, and also just more chord movement, right? It's difficult to create a one chord vamp that sounds super bebop-y, because so much of the bebop language is about having harmony moving around. But it is possible, but focus on your ears first. Start with hearing the triad. Just get used to this particular harmonic color, right? The minor major 9. It's not a minor major 7 anymore, because the 9 is one of our stable notes now. The root note and the third are not stable anymore. Right, that was the B flat wanting to pull down to A over a B flat minor major chord. With F sounding the most in. Start with just F, then add tension flat 6. Make sure you can hear that. Okay, and then add tension 2. If you can handle all that, if you can keep all these plates spinning, then you can mess around with leading tones, chromaticism, anything else you want to ornament this stuff, but make sure that this stuff is the foundation, that it's strong. That's a B natural note, that's the flat 9. But I can lay into it hard, confidently, because I know it's just going to act as a leading tone. I don't need to like noodle around looking for anything. I don't need to test stuff out. I know that any note I play a half step below one of my triad notes or one of my tension notes will work. I can play it and just resolve it up a half step, and it gives me a target note. Flat 13. It really shouldn't work, but functionally, because I can see the simplicity of the DNA at work here, it's not just a scale position. I can see my triad notes, my stable notes, I can see my tension notes, so I just know that this is going to behave like a leading tone, which can bring me up to tension 2, which then wants to resolve down to the melodic do, the F note. Start with all those baby steps, then you can add leading tones, and then you can connect anything with chromaticism, and now we have all 12 notes. That's just the 5th of the triad down to the 3rd. And then the root note and the tension 2. We could call this the melodic triad pentatonic scale. Seems a little silly because, like, who really cares whether it's melodic minor or not at this point? If you don't know melodic minor and the basic theory of it, it's worth learning it and having it stuck up here. But ultimately, what I'm trying to work on and talk about today is more ear development and how to create phrases that don't sound like we're just running around inside of a scale shape, like looking for something cool. The more we pull ourselves back and let these emotions shine out, these like tension flat 6, right? The Batman note, the tension 2, that very kind of unsure question mark. The more we play, the less we push ourselves on it and try and make everything sound cool by playing a lot of cool stuff, the more those notes are just going to shine, and it'll sound cool on its own. We can kind of get out of the way and let the sounds themselves take care of everything. Right, the phrases I'm playing are not overly complicated. I'm just focusing on what Miles might call the better notes and then moving them to the next chord. No, you're welcome. Miles, is there a specific reason you choose the minor major? Is there a specific reason you choose the minor major chords to work on this? Is it because the flat six works? The reason is that this is the major triad tension flat six. That's the primary quadratonic I would use for a minor major chord. It's not the only chord it works on, but it does work. And I think the reason I'm talking about it so much today is because I think it was on Wednesday we started talking about the opening two chords to Nika's Dream, which is just two minor majors back and forth. So we talked about how to improvise with the quadratonic on Wednesday, during Wednesday's lesson. Thursday we talked about some comping options for those two chords to create a little bit more freedom so we're not stuck on the real book. And then today I just thought we would kind of tie everything together by digging deeper into this quadratonic, adding one additional note to make a pentatonic, and to stick with the same two chords. That's why. We could use this to create sort of any harmony that we would use in traditional approach that we would use melodic minor for. So it could be an altered dominant, right? This works for this F major triad. We could play over an A altered dominant. Here's A7 sharp 9. A7 sharp 9, but notice the F note sounds the most in. That's weird. Playing over A7, but this F note sounds the most in. So I'm tonicizing the sharp 5, flat 6, flat 13. We could use this over D flat major 7 sharp 5. D flat major 7. It works over a bunch of chords. Like there's several chords in the tonality vault that you can check out that this will work with. But I'm just picking minor major because that's in the Nika's Dream form. How can you combine pentatonics? Don't know. Rewatch this lesson when it's done and just look at it moving back and forth. Practice one, then practice the other, then put them together. Always work in baby steps. You can't eat a feast by dumping every dish into your mouth. You take your own plate of what you want to work on, what you want to eat, and then you cut it up and you eat one bite at a time. And you enjoy the process. Okay, so just break it down into small steps, take one bite at a time, chew on it, and have fun enjoying that moment. And then when you feel good with it, then you can move on to the next bite and you can enjoy that moment. And eventually things will start to connect and combine. Feel free to keep coming and hanging out in these classes, checking out the PDFs. We have a study group if you want to join it. But the best advice I can give, whether you want to take part in our official study group or not, is break things down into the smallest thing possible, the smallest topic, and work in baby steps. Don't try and jump from here to where Charlie Parker was up here. Charlie Parker didn't jump to where Charlie Parker was. He worked, 12 hours a day on just mastering his fundamentals and gradually building his way up. So, if you want to steal Parker riffs, that's cool, but there's no way that you can jump from here to where he was. Like, that's just not going to happen. He didn't do that. So build your way up one step at a time. The smaller the step, the easier it is to accomplish it, and the fewer holes you'll have in your foundation, and you'll start being able to apply it into musical situations much quicker. And then over time, you can build your way to, more masterful levels of bebop. Otherwise, as Bill Evans would say, otherwise you're just sort of approximating something. You're never quite grabbing onto it. It feels like you're touching the thing, but you're always going to left feeling like it's out of reach, right? Michael, F plus, F augmented. F is contained within F tension flat 6 and 2. It is, yes, but the F augmented it's better to think of it as an F major triad with the tension flat 6 for this purpose. If you want to explore the sound of an F augmented triad, same pitches but different, because the augmented chord, that sharp fifth, that we're now forcing that solfege syllable, that pitch, to be tonicized. We're creating the sensation. We're not resolving away from that note. Now we're sticking to it. So learn to do this with a major triad first. It's much more digestible by the ear. You'll get a lot more value out of it that way first. And then as your ear gets stronger and your mastery of the fretboard and triads gets stronger, you can do that. Because keep in mind that an F sus2 triad exists here also, right? We could throw the third out and say that F, G, and C is an F sus2 triad, and it is, which means we could run F sus2 triad shapes. Right, those are F sus2 triad shapes, or F augmented. Like, all of those triads will work over it, and that's cool, good to know. You can work up some hip little runs with that if you want. But I'm talking about, at the moment, I'm just talking about tension and resolution, learning to hear the stable notes and learning to hear the tension notes. And we can change them over time. We can use different triads. We can use different tension notes. But these are the ones that I think most clearly and respectfully imply the harmony without locking us inside of running scale tones 1, 3, 5, 7, or noodling and sequencing inside of scales and things like that. I gotta run. Thanks everybody for a great week. If you dig these lessons and you're not in the study group and you want to learn more that feels more like a full-blown process, like a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, broken down with the big picture, much more easy to see, check out our study group. We have courses that delve into one topic at a time, where I try and really outline the process of how to learn this stuff so it's not so scattered and broken out. It's one thing to teach a 20 or 30 minute class. It's another where we can delve into one topic for a couple of hours over the course of a series of videos with PDFs and practices. So that's all available in the study group, as well as we have open office hours where I take full-blown questions. I am trying to squeeze in some questions in these lessons, but in the official study group, we do 3-hour-long open office hours every month where I just hang out just like this and people sending questions, and in real time I just give in-depth answers and ideas, practice ideas, inspiration, hopefully, application to tunes, all that kind of stuff is there. If you're not interested in that, but you do have questions, leave them in the comments and I will do my best to get to them. Thank you for another great week. This was fun. I can't believe we've done 40 of these already. We'll be up to 45 by the end of next week, which is crazy. So I'm going to go finish my taxes, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Happy practicing. Hey YouTube, it's Jordan Clemens with NYC Jazz Guitar Master Classes and the Melodic Triads Study Group. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have a ton of content coming out on YouTube this year. We've been doing daily jazz guitar lessons, so I'm going to be posting videos like this pretty much every day. So if you dug this and you want to follow me, subscribe and make sure that you turn on notifications so that you can watch more videos like this. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you in the comment section. Hope to see you in the next video.